I never gave her my address. At least I don't remember doing it. That line has lived in my head every night since. My name's Evan Ross, 28, HVAC tech in Raleigh, North Carolina. I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment overlooking a cracked parking lot and a flickering streetlight that never quite dies. Loneliness creeps in quietly when you live like that. It fills the silence between microwave beeps and the hum of the fridge. One night, somewhere between tired and half-drunk, I re-downloaded LinkUp, one of those dating apps that promise real people, real connections. That's how I met Kara Myers. She seemed normal enough, brown hair, red lipstick, 2 casual selfies, and a short bio that said, "Just looking for someone who gets it." There was something about that line that stuck. She messaged first, "Are you always up this late?" "Yeah, work messes with my sleep," I replied. "Same. Maybe we should keep each other company sometime." We talked for 3 nights straight. She told me she worked at a convenience store off Durant Road. She sent me pictures of her view, the dark parking lot and the store's neon open sign glowing red. She wasn't flirty, just easy to talk to. When I joked about her bringing me free coffee sometime, she said, "Maybe sooner than you think." I laughed. That was my mistake. It was Saturday night when it happened, 11:47 p.m. I remember the time because the movie I was watching had just ended. Someone knocked on my door. Not loud, but steady. 3 knocks. I wasn't expecting anyone. I live on the 2nd floor. You can't reach my door without buzzing first. I froze for a moment before checking the peephole. A woman stood there, hood up, face angled slightly away. "Kara?" I said, my voice small. She didn't answer. Just stood there. The motion light outside flicked on and I saw her face. Pale, sleepless eyes and dry lips moving as if whispering to herself. I stepped back. "Look, this isn't funny." Tap, tap, tap on the peephole. That sound made my chest lock up. I didn't look again. After about 10 seconds, it went silent. When I finally opened the door, nothing. Just cold air, a faint smell of cigarettes, and the creak of the stairwell below. I told myself I'd imagined it, that I'd fallen asleep and dreamt it. But the next morning, there was a coffee cup sitting on my doormat. It had my name written on it. Evan. And inside, a small silver key. I texted her. "Did you come to my place last night?" No reply. I checked her profile. Gone. Deleted. That's when the feeling started. The quiet kind of fear that doesn't shout but stays behind your ribs, waiting. That night, I caught something outside my window. A shape near the parking lot light. Someone standing completely still. I could see the gray hood. The same one from her profile picture. I called the police. 2 officers came. They looked worn out and unconcerned. One, a heavy-set man with kind eyes, turned the key over in his hand. "Looks like a locker key," he said. "Storage, maybe? Could it be possible that she is an ex or something similar?" "No," I said. "We just met online." He nodded like he'd heard it 100 times before. They took a brief report and left. I should have thrown the key away. Instead, I drove to Redline Storage the next afternoon. I told myself I was just going to look to get closure. The clerk was a bored-looking guy with a beard, scrolling his phone behind a glass window. I held up the key. "Found this near my apartment." "You know whose it is?" He squinted. "Locker 314. Belongs to a woman." He typed something on his screen. "Kara Myers." The air went out of my lungs. "Do you know her?" I asked. He shrugged. "Not really. Cops were here last month asking about her. Something about a missing person case." I walked out before he could say anything else. The sky felt heavier than usual, gray and tight. I drove home with my hands shaking on the wheel. When I parked, I noticed a folded piece of paper under my windshield wiper. It was written in black marker, "You shouldn't have gone there." My hands went numb. That night, I didn't sleep. I pushed my dresser against the door, turned on the TV for noise, and sat with a baseball bat across my lap like that would somehow help. The next afternoon, I got a call from a Detective Calhoun from Raleigh PD. She asked if I'd filed a report about Kara. "Yeah," I said, voice shaking. "I'm going to need you to listen carefully," she said. "Kara Myers was reported missing 4 months ago. Her car was found near Durant Road. She hasn't been seen since." "That's impossible," I said. "I talked to her last week. She sent me pictures." "People use fake profiles," she said gently. "It happens. Sometimes they use the identities of the missing. I opened the app to show her our messages, but the entire conversation was gone. Every photo, every chat, nothing. She told me to forward anything I still had, but there was nothing left. That night, my phone buzzed once. Unknown number? Still up? I froze. My heart pounded so loud it drowned out the hum of the fridge. I deleted it immediately, shut the phone off, and sat in the dark waiting. Through the blinds, I could see the same streetlight flickering outside, and under it someone stood again, perfectly still, the shape of a hooded figure barely visible in the orange glow. In their hand, glinting faintly, was a small silver key. That's when I realized something I hadn't noticed before. The cup she'd left on my doorstep, it had a logo on it. Not from any convenience store. It said Redline Coffee in the same font as Redline Storage. And right then I knew she hadn't found me. I'd walked straight into her world. If I had gone home when my shift ended, I never would have seen his eyes on the camera feed, and I think I could have slept like a normal person for the rest of my life. My name's Jordan. I was 24 when this happened, working nights at a cheap burger place off the interstate in Dayton, Ohio, called Grill Point. You are familiar with the environment. Flickering fluorescent lighting, sticky flooring, intoxicated patrons beyond 1 a.m., and managers who prioritized drive-through efficiency over safety. I worked the closing shift 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Most nights were uneventful. The nights were filled with boredom, mopping water and frying oil. To make it less miserable, I started using a dating app called Near Me during slow hours. Just swiping, nothing serious, nothing crazy. That's how I met Chloe. Her profile looked normal. Brown hair, denim jacket. Sitting on the hood of some car at sunset. Bio said night owl. Love cheap food, long drives, and dark humor. Don't be weird. She was close by, like 2 miles from the restaurant. She messaged first. You look dead behind the eyes. You working nights too? Grill Point, I replied. The glamorous life. I'm literally 10 minutes away. I might stop by. I like stale fries. She was funny, blunt. She was a little aggressive, but in a way that made sense for late-night chats. We messaged on and off for a week. She'd always text around midnight. You alone? You should quit. Careful with creeps. I read too many crime threads. It felt ironic now. One Wednesday around 1:15 a.m. we were dead. The drive-thru was empty. The lobby had already locked, and my coworker Luis was in the back doing dishes while wearing headphones. My manager had left early to do inventory at another store, which meant I was basically running the front alone. Chloe texted, You there? Yeah, bored out of my mind. What time are you off? 2. Cool, I'm close. I stared at that last message for a second. You mean close? Like outside close? Maybe. I went to the front windows and looked out at the dark parking lot. Just my car, Luis's car, and a beat-up gray sedan I didn't recognize parked near the edge of the lot facing the road. Headlights off. Could have been anyone's. Are you in the gray car? I typed. You tell me. I tried to laugh it off. People play around like that. 1:32 a.m. a drive-through order came in. The family was in a black SUV and everything seemed normal. After they left, I checked my phone again. No new messages. I wiped the counter, restocked sauces, and listened to the hum of the fridge and Luis's faint music in the back. Normal closing shift. Then I remembered something, our cameras. Grill Point had 6 security cameras. One of the cameras was located in the lobby. There was also a camera installed in the drive-through lane, one above the back door. One is watching the front lot. Screens were mounted in a tiny monitor near the office door. I glanced at the feed. Lobby empty. Back door closed. Drive-through lane clear. Front lot, my car, Luis's car, and the gray sedan. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Not moving. I watched for a satisfying 30 seconds. Nothing. No door opening, no lights, and no engine vibration could I see. My phone buzzed. Stop staring at me. My stomach dropped. I typed, Is that you? You look better in person, she replied. Come say hi. I looked up again at the monitor. The figure in the sedan still hadn't moved. Just a dark shape behind glass. I told myself it had to be Chloe. That's what people are doing now. Pull up, flirt through the window, and act bold. I texted, "The lobby's closed." "I know," she replied. "Back door then." I actually laughed. "Yeah, that's not happening." "Don't be boring," she sent. "I like you." Something in me tightened. The way her messages switched from playful to pushy. I put my phone down and went to check the lobby doors locked. I made sure. When I came back, I glanced at the monitor again. The sedan was closer. The difference in distance was not significant. It was only a couple of spaces away. I hadn't heard it move. I swallowed and walked to the drive-thru window. Lifted the blinds an inch. The lot was mostly empty, streetlights casting dull orange circles. The sedan sat there, engine off. I couldn't see a face. My phone buzzed. Cute shirt. I was wearing a gray grill point polo under an unzipped hoodie. No one could see that from the road. You'd have to be close. You would need to be close enough to see through the glass.
"Where are you?" I typed.
"Here." I checked the cameras again. Front lot camera, the sedan. Lobby camera, just the tables. Drive-through camera, empty lane. Backdoor camera, I paused. The backdoor camera showed the rear exit, a metal door that opened to the dumpsters and a narrow alley. There was a shape in the bottom corner of the frame. Not by the door, just at the edge of view, standing. As I watched, the shape leaned forward like it was trying to find the camera. My hands went cold. I grabbed the walkie-talkie we kept under the front counter. "Luis, are you near the back?" No answer. Probably had his music too loud. I hit the door lock button on the front panel again, just in case. Then I watched the back camera. The figure stepped back out of frame. A second later, someone knocked softly on the back door. The knocks were precise, 3 in a row. I froze. I didn't move. I did not move even an inch. The knocks came again, louder. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. "Is that you at the back door?" "Let me in," she replied. "No, go around front." "You're no fun," she sent. "Thought you said you were alone." I looked up at the monitor. The sedan was still in the main lot. Whoever was at the back door wasn't coming from that car. Another knock. This time the knock was more forceful. "Luis," I yelled. "Are you near the back?" He finally emerged from the kitchen, pulling one earbud out. "What's up?" I pointed at the monitor. "Is that you screwing around?" He frowned. "I've been washing dishes, dude." We both stared at the black and white feed. The screen was now empty. All that was left was the metal door. Luis shrugged. "Probably some drunk idiot." "We're locked, chill." He went back. I pretended to calm down. 1:56 a.m. My phone buzzed again. I don't like waiting. Along with the text came a picture. It was me. Standing at the counter, looking up at the monitors. The photo was taken from outside the building, through the big front window. My hoodie, my posture, the glow of the screens above me. Timestamp 1:55 a.m. I dropped my phone. My heart was pounding so hard my vision went blurry. I ran to the front window, but the glass only showed the reflection of the inside lights. I couldn't see anything beyond that. "Luis," I called, voice cracking. "Come here now." He came out annoyed, drying his hands. "What?" I showed him the photo. His face went stiff. He stepped closer to the window, squinting out. Then he cursed under his breath. "Call the manager," he said, "and lock the walk-in. I'll check the back." I called my manager, no answer. I called again, voicemail. The screen on the monitor flickered. The front lot camera cut out for a second, static. When it came back, the sedan was gone. But there was someone standing on the sidewalk right outside the glass. Hood up, head tilted. The figure was too close to the camera to see its face, only a shape was visible. They raised a hand slowly and pressed something against the glass. A phone. My phone buzzed. "You look smaller up close." I don't remember dialing 911, but the recording later said the call lasted 3 minutes. I remember my voice shaking, saying, "There's someone outside watching us, sending me pictures of me inside my job. Please send someone." Luis grabbed a metal mop handle and stood near the back hallway, eyes locked on the lobby. We never opened the door, not once. By the time the cops arrived, the sidewalk was empty. They checked the cameras. They saw the sedan. They saw the figure at the back door. They saw the shape on the glass. But the face was always obscured. The face was always obscured by hoods, angles, and shadows. They traced the texts I'd gotten. "Near me account deleted. Phone number prepaid, unregistered." One of the officers asked, Did you ever tell her where you worked? Yeah, I said. First night. He nodded slowly. You give her your full name? I thought about it. My profile, my badge, my name tag she could zoom in on from outside. They couldn't do much. They were forced to file a report. Told us to be careful. The manager chewed us out for calling cops because it looked unsafe for business. I quit a week later. I moved apartments. I changed my phone number. I also deleted all dating apps. Sometimes on late drives, if I pass that old grill point, I still glance at the parking lot. It's usually empty. But twice now I've seen it. A gray sedan lights off, parked just far enough away you could watch the windows. And I always feel my phone vibrate even when it's not in my pocket. Like somewhere on some burner account with no name and no face, there's a draft message waiting. You look better in person. If I hadn't answered that text, I think I'd still believe people are mostly good. My name's Melissa Grant. I'm 30 years old and live in Eugene, Oregon. I manage a small pet supply store and spend most of my nights walking my rescue dog, Benny, a mixed mutt with more personality than sense. I'm not the type to use dating apps, but after my breakup last year, my best friend insisted I get back out there. So, one night after 2 glasses of wine and way too much scrolling, I downloaded Heartline. It was the usual circus, gym selfies, men holding fish, and a few looking for spiritual partners. I was about to delete the app when I got a message from someone named Aaron B. His profile picture was simple. A guy in his early 30s wearing a flannel, crouched beside a golden retriever. His bio said engineer, coffee addict, dog lover, not good at bios, it felt safe, normal. He messaged me first, you have a dog too? Yeah, Benny, rescue mutt. Yours? Cooper. Also a rescue. Best decision I ever made. We talked for hours. About dogs, Oregon weather, and hiking trails. His tone was gentle, none of the usual forced charm. The next night, he sent a photo of Cooper sleeping under a blanket captioned, Twin Energy. For a week, we texted constantly. Then one Friday evening, he said, hey, crazy idea. Maybe we should let our dogs meet. I hesitated. At a park? Of course, he replied. Public daylight dog approved. It sounded harmless enough. We picked Oakwood Dog Park Saturday 3 p.m. Saturday came bright and cold. Benny trotted beside me, tail wagging. The park was moderately busy. A few families, 2 other dog walkers, and sunlight filtering through thin clouds. I scanned the area for Aaron. A tall man in a flannel waved from near the fence. He looked like his photos, maybe a bit thinner, with eyes a little sunken but friendly enough. Melissa? He called. I smiled. That's me. Benny ran straight to him, tail wagging, sniffing his shoes. Guess he likes you, I said. Aaron chuckled. Dogs know good people. We talked for maybe 20 minutes. About random things, favorite trails, movies, work stress. He seemed quiet and polite. When he laughed, it came out like he wasn't used to doing it often. Then he said something that threw me off. He's a beautiful dog. Would you ever let me borrow him? I blinked. Borrow him? He smiled like it was a joke. Just for a day. I've been thinking of adopting another, but I want to see if Cooper gets jealous. I laughed awkwardly. That's not really something people do, he nodded. You're right. That came out weird, sorry, we moved on. Still, something about his tone lingered. Too casual for something so strange. At 4 p.m., I said I had to leave. He offered to walk me to my car. I declined politely. He waved, smiled, and said, maybe next time. That night, he texted again. Had a great time today. Benny's awesome, thanks. He had fun too. You should bring him by the trail near Ridgewood next weekend. Maybe, I replied. Then another message came. Are you sure I can't borrow him? I froze. I typed back. Not funny. He replied instantly. You said you lived near downtown, right? My stomach flipped. I hadn't told him that. Not exactly. I scrolled back through our messages. I'd said I worked near downtown once. That was it. Don't worry, he texted. I just guessed. I'm good with directions. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, he sent a photo. Benny. From that afternoon. Cropped close, my dog's collar and tag are clearly visible. See? He already likes me. I blocked his number immediately. 2 nights later, Benny started barking around midnight, the deep panicked bark he never used. I jumped out of bed and looked toward the window. Someone was standing near the fence outside my backyard. A tall figure, still as stone. I turned on the porch light. The figure moved away slowly, not running, just walking, head turned toward the house the whole time. I called the police. They said they'd send a patrol, but by the time they arrived, the street was empty. The next morning, there was a note on my porch. Should have said yes. I take good care of animals, no signature. Just folded paper and a single dog treat inside. I stayed with my sister for a few days after that. When I returned, the police called me in. They'd traced the number from Aaron's messages to a disposable phone bought at a convenience store outside Portland. No name, no ID. The officer, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, said, "We've seen his pattern before. Makes fake profiles, targets pet owners, usually women who post their dogs' names online." I asked, "Why dogs?" He sighed. "Some people sell them. Some people, worse." I felt sick. They showed me a printout of 5 photos, all similar men using the same dog photo and the same engineer. Dog lover, bio. Different names each time. None of them were real. Not even the dog. I moved apartments 2 months later. New neighborhood, no yard this time. Benny sleeps beside my bed every night. I still check the door 3 times before sleeping. Last week, I opened Facebook for the first time in months. A friend request waited from a new account. Profile picture of a golden retriever wearing sunglasses. No mutuals, the name, Aaron B. again, and the message read, "Benny looks happy. I knew you'd take good care of him." I deleted the account immediately, but that night Benny wouldn't stop barking at the window again, and when I went to quiet him, I noticed something just outside the glass, a small pile of dog treats, perfectly lined up in a row. The bag on the porch wasn't mine, but it had my name on it. I'm Chris Taylor, 26, living in Toledo, Ohio. Back then I drove for Dash Eats, one of those food delivery apps that promised freedom, but really just meant long nights. Cold fries and people who forgot to tip. I took every shift I could obtain. Rent doesn't care if you're worn out. It started on a Thursday. Around 10:30 p.m., I got a notification. Pickup, Mama Leone's Pizza. Drop-off, 4827 Juneau Street. The map said it was only 15 minutes away, near the edge of town where the houses looked old but still clean. It was the kind of place where people would leave their porch lights on and wave to each other. The order name read Megan L. 2 large pepperonis, 1 soda. Easy. The pickup went smoothly. When I got to Juneau Street, the house looked normal. White shutters, small porch, motion light flickering. I texted the customer like always. "Hey, this is Chris from Dash Eats." "I'm outside," no reply. I waited a minute and knocked. The porch light buzzed louder. Then I noticed the front door was slightly open. I called out, "Delivery for Megan." No sound. Just a faint hum from inside, like a fridge running somewhere deep. I set the bag down, took a photo for proof, and turned to leave. That's when I heard it. A soft voice echoed from inside the house. "Just come in." I froze. "Excuse me?" "Come in." "Kitchen's to the left. I should have left right there." But it didn't sound threatening, more like someone sick or worn out. So I took one cautious step inside. The air smelled wrong, sweet but heavy, like expired perfume. A TV played softly in another room. The living room was neat but dusty. No shoes by the door, no pictures on the wall, just furniture that looked too new. "Hello," I said. "Your order's here." No answer. I placed the pizza bag on a counter near the door and backed out quickly. My instincts were screaming. As I reached the porch, my phone buzzed. I received a new message. "Megan L. Thanks. Just leave it at the door." The timestamp said 10:49 p.m., the exact moment I'd stepped back outside. The next morning I checked my app history. The delivery was marked completed with a 5-star rating and a $10 tip. I suppose I felt a sense of relief. Still, something about it didn't sit right. The voice, the smell, the open door, it replayed in my head. 2 nights later, I got another ping. Pick up Mama Leone's Pizza. Drop off 4827 Juneau Street. Same address, same name. I stared at my phone. Coincidence, maybe. People reorder. Still, I accepted. When I arrived, the house was dark this time. Porch light is dead. Curtains drawn. The app said, "Leave the door." I placed the bag down, took a picture, and turned to leave. That's when I saw something in my car mirror. Someone standing inside the house, behind the front window. A silhouette just visible through the thin curtain. Watching, I didn't wait. I got in my car and drove straight back to the restaurant. I told the manager, an older guy named Vic, that someone was messing with fake orders. He checked the system. Megan L. had paid with a prepaid card. No real ID attached. Probably a scam, he said. We'll flag it. The next night, I had the late shift again. It was raining intensely. Around 11:20 p.m., another order came through. Same pizza place, same items. But this time, the drop-off address was my apartment building. I laughed nervously. It had to be a glitch. The note caught my attention as I scrolled down. Front porch. For Chris. Could you provide the sender's name? Megan L. I froze. I texted support, but they brushed it off as an automated test. I went home, parked across the street, and watched my building. At exactly midnight, headlights appeared down the block. A car pulled up, an old silver sedan. The driver got out holding a pizza bag. No logo. He walked up to my porch, set it down, and left. I waited until he was gone, then approached. The bag wasn't from Mama Leone's, plain black, unmarked. My name was written on masking tape across the top. Inside wasn't pizza. There was only a small brown envelope inside. I opened it. Inside was a photo. Me, standing on the porch of 4827 Juno Street, holding the pizza bag from that first night. On the back, in neat handwriting, "Thanks for delivering. You were right on time." I went to the police the next day. They sent an officer to check the Juno Street property. He came back pale. "Nobody lives there," he said. "The house is foreclosed. Has been for 6 months." He showed me photos. Same living room I'd seen. Empty now, no furniture, no lights. Just dust and cobwebs. I asked about the account, the prepaid card. They traced it to a convenience store 2 towns over. No camera footage. No usable fingerprints. They told me to stay alert, but that was it. A week passed. Nothing. I started sleeping better. I almost convinced myself it was all some weird prank. Then one night I got home around 1 a.m. There was a pizza bag sitting on my porch again. Black, unmarked. Inside, nothing but a folded receipt. Delivery for Megan L. Address 4827 Juno Street driver, Chris Taylor. And under notes, "We don't like it when people come inside." It started with a wave. I thought he was just being friendly. Now I can't drive the same route without checking every mirror. My name's Renee Miller, 32, living in Tacoma, Washington. I work as a nurse, mostly night shifts. My schedule runs opposite the rest of the world. Out the door by 5 p.m., home just before sunrise. There's comfort in routine. Same drive, same gas station coffee, same radio host who talks too much. About 6 months ago, I started noticing a blue pickup truck that always seemed to leave the hospital parking lot around the same time I did. At first I figured it was another night shift worker. The driver looked ordinary, middle-aged, clean ball cap beard. He always pulled out right behind me. The first week it was nothing. In the second week I realized he took the exact same turns I did. Same exit off I-5. Same shortcut through the quiet streets near my neighborhood. By the third week I started paying attention. If I slowed down, he slowed down. If I took a detour, he took it too. If I stopped for gas, he parked one pump over. Once I caught him glancing my way as he filled his tank. He smiled faintly like he knew me. "Long night," he said. "Yeah," I muttered, pretending to check my phone. "Me too. Roads are quiet this time." His voice was calm and polite, but something about the way he said quiet made my skin crawl. When I drove off, he followed again, keeping just close enough that I could see his headlights in my mirror, but not close enough to call it tailing. The next night, I left the hospital late, around 1 a.m. The parking lot was empty except for 2 cars, mine and that blue pickup. I sat inside, engine off, lights out, watching through the rearview mirror. After about 3 minutes, the truck's headlights flicked on. He didn't leave, he just idled there, waiting. I reassured myself that it was just coincidence and paranoia. Still, I waited 15 minutes before pulling out. The truck followed. That weekend, I told my coworker Janelle about it. She laughed at first and said maybe he was flirting the old-fashioned way. But when she saw my face, she stopped smiling. "You should file a report," she said. I didn't. I just started taking a different route home. For a few nights it worked. No truck, no headlights in the mirror. Then on Wednesday, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. "You changed your route." Thought we were friends. I pulled over immediately, shaking so hard my phone almost fell. I typed, "Who is this?" No reply. I called the number. It went straight to voicemail. The recording was blank silence. The next morning, I reported the incident to the security team at the hospital. They checked the cameras. Sure enough, every night that week, the blue pickup had pulled out right after my shift ended. They couldn't see the plate, mud covered half of it, but they said they'd notify police. 2 nights later, I switched my schedule and left early. 9:45 p.m., broad daylight. Surely he wouldn't expect that. As I got into my car, I noticed something tucked under my windshield wiper. A folded piece of paper. Written in neat handwriting. "Thought you worked later." I called 911. Officers came, took the note, and told me not to engage. They'd add patrols around the hospital. That night, I parked my car on a different street near my apartment complex just in case. I walked the last 2 blocks home under the streetlights. Halfway there, I heard it, the low rumble of a truck engine. When I turned around, the blue pickup rolled slowly down the street behind me. No headlights, I ran. The cops came within 10 minutes after my neighbor called. The truck was gone. No tire marks, no plates caught on the nearby cameras. They asked me to stay with someone for a few nights. I stayed with Janelle. For the first time, I felt safe. Then Sunday night, Janelle's doorbell rang at midnight. She peeked through the blinds.
"No one there," she whispered.
When I looked, I saw it. A brown envelope on the porch. Inside was a printed photo. Me, walking toward Janelle's house, same clothes I'd worn that night. On the back, one line. "You shouldn't walk alone." The next morning, detectives visited my apartment. They found a small tracking device under the rear bumper of my car. "He's been following you for weeks," one officer said quietly. "GPS tracker, Bluetooth range, cheap but effective." I felt my stomach twist.
Can you trace it?
He shook his head. "Burner device. No serial ID. They told me not to drive until they cleared it." I agreed, but by Monday I couldn't sit inside anymore. I needed groceries, air, something normal. I borrowed Janelle's car, drove to the store in broad daylight. Crowds everywhere. I told myself I was fine. When I came back out, there was a slip of paper under her windshield wiper. Wrong car. I moved a month later, different city, different job, new number. I don't drive at night anymore. Last week I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line just said, "Blue pickup for sale." The message read, "Low mileage. Great condition. You know the route." And attached was a single photo taken from behind my new workplace. My car was parked exactly where I thought no one knew I worked.